Today we're watching this redesign of a 450 square foot apartment in Paris, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So if you ever decide to buy or redesign an apartment like this on your own, you'll know exactly how to think about it. Let's do this.
For the inspiration, we draw from various styles, including Charlotte's Perriand design for specific details, as well as Scandinavian and Japanese architecture.
Okay, so straight off the top, she's referencing Charlotte Perriand, who is a French designer. She's well known for her furniture pieces. And if you look at her furniture is very bold and colorful. So I want you to think about that as you look at this apartment and as we go through it to see, can you recognize the inspiration from Charlotte Perriand in here? And the other two references she mentioned are Scandinavian and Japanese architecture. So again, these are often kind of conflated or related to minimalism, but really Japanese and Scandinavian interiors, I made an entire video about them. They use natural textures and natural materials, but they have a really warm palette. Okay, so again, I want you to think about that as we go through this apartment to see, if this inspiration is really coming through.
It is an open yet optimized space thanks to the custom furniture pieces. The second part is more private.
I've got a few issues with this living room, and I'm sure I'm going to talk about them more as we dive deeper here. But first of all, there's not really anywhere to sit, right? They've got this storage along the floor here, which I guess, there's plenty of storage space under there for whatever you need to store. But where are people supposed to sit? You can see she's just sitting on there, which is kind of just on the floor. Got some cushions behind her, but I mean, this doesn't look comfortable at all, right? This doesn't look inviting at all. If you're going to have people over, host people, where are they going to hang out? Where are they going to sit? Like lean against this piece of art on the wall, lean against the speaker? There's nowhere to actually decompress in this space. And that's one of the first problems that I have with this space.
Including the bedroom, walk-in closet, and bathroom. The entire space is warmed by the use of ukume plywood, creating a cozy atmosphere.
Okay, so like she said, it's kind of split into two parts, two halves, we can say. The outer, more public part, which is the living room, dining room, and kitchen. It's not really much of a dining room. And then the back part, which is the bedroom and this closet space and the bathroom. So that's pretty much the split of things.
The apartment is on the ground floor, which used to be an artist studio. Now the studio have all been turned into homes.
Is it just me, or are all of these plants kind of dead? I don't really see much in the way of flowers. I feel like the garden could definitely use a bit of work.
Visually appealing, the mat can easily be replaced in the future if needed.
This is pretty cool, actually. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of a built-in doormat setup before, but I think it's actually a pretty good idea.
Design a floating cabinet using ukume plywood for the entrance, extending along the entire length of the wall.
Now here, I think could be a lot better, right? This is a really small cabinet, and obviously there's plenty of other storage in here, but this almost feels kind of like wasted space to me where this could be better used, and I'll give you an idea of what I think should be sitting here instead of this. I mean, realistically, we can only fit 2 or 3 pairs of shoes in each of these little cabinets, and then a couple, some documents or a couple books on top. There's really not that much storage space, but what you're doing is you're using like an entire stretch of the wall here that could be used so much more productively for something else. So I don't think this is a very good use of space.
By simply changing the placement of a cushion and objects. The flat surface of the bench allows the owner to place her plants, use it as a side table, or as a large surface for art and craft.
Okay, this is one of the first things that I really think they missed in this apartment, is putting all, this built-in bench, as they're calling it, this storage space, kind of takes up the entire living room. And the problem is they don't have any other furniture. I mean, there's no couch here, there's no chair even. You just got to sit on this bench, which is really low and not going to be comfortable for long, for sitting for long periods. Also, you can see her here. She's going to be drawing almost essentially on the floor. I feel like this is such a huge miss. If the owner is an artist or anyone, right? She works on her computer, she works with pen and paper, regardless. I think everyone would agree that having a desk, a table, if she's drawing, maybe she wants like an architect's drafting table, something like that. That would just be such a better experience rather than doing this stuff on the floor, sitting on the floor, drawing on the floor, keeping all your stuff on the floor. I'm going to suggest toward the end of the video what I think would be a much better setup that would both achieve a high amount of storage, because clearly they've really optimized for storage here, which I can appreciate. But I think they could have done much better in achieving, having a very comfortable and inviting space that you want to spend time in, but also having plenty of storage.
Part of the base also conceals a pull-out bed, perfect for hosting guests. We really try to maximize the storage in the apartment.
It's funny because I feel like this apartment is almost all storage, right? We're going to see some more storage units in a second here. It's just all storage and no life, no actual living space. I just can't wrap my head around it.
It is made of ukume plywood, like all the custom-built joinery throughout the apartment, echoing a similar design to the floating cabinet in the entrance.
Okay, what do you notice about this kitchen? There's a couple things. The one thing that really stands out to me is how white it is, right? Everything in this apartment is just white, white, white. We've got a white dining table, white, maybe those are silvery chairs, but they even look white under this light. White all over the walls, the ceiling, the floor is completely white. Even, this hidden fridge, like the cabinets are completely white. The living room was all white. It's just all white. And this is why I was saying at the beginning, think about Japanese and Scandinavian interiors. A lot of people think that means just ultra minimalist, but it doesn't, right? They use a lot of wood. They use a lot of natural materials and textures to warm up the spaces so that they actually feel good to be in. I don't think this kitchen, especially over time, is going to feel good to be in. It's going to feel like you're living in a sanatorium.
It brings brightness to the space and keeps the visual impact to a minimum.
It definitely brings a lot of brightness, right? I think I even forgot to mention the countertops are white. There's so much brightness in here. Look here on the left side, we've got the cabinet, but you almost can't even see it, right? It just disappears into the wall because it's all just so white. And when everything is white like this, it just bounces the light every which way in a room, which can be fantastic, right? A lot of the time you want to use lighter colors so that you get more of a light bounce, but there's tons of natural light coming in here and it just makes the entire place, I feel like I have to squint just to go inside this apartment.
The dishwasher is fully integrated beneath the counter.
All right, some people may not agree with me here, but I would say this mini dishwasher just doesn't cut it. You need a full-size dishwasher.
Allowing it to blend seamlessly into the decor. It is covered with panel matching the wall's finish.
Again, look at this. Everything is hidden here, right? This is the fridge toward the right side and actually just beside the shelf. By the way, I think this shelf is excellent. I love this shelf that they've got here. Great amount of storage, which is perfect for this living room area. Beside it, on the right side, there's a small handle to go through to the back side, but everything is so hidden. It's like, if you stepped into this home as a guest, you would just think this is, where am I, right? I'm just in like a white box. Am I in a dream? And I wouldn't say it's not a dreamy white box, right? It's just a white box that doesn't feel particularly good to be in. There's nothing that really catches your attention and makes you want to engage with it.
The upper cabinets appear to float above the kitchen.
I think they've actually done a great job in the kitchen here by having a ton of storage space for food, for, your dishes, everything you need in here. I think in a small apartment like this, they've actually done a really great job with the kitchen. I think the finishes could be a lot better, right? They need some color. They need a backsplash here. Think about this, right? You've got a stovetop right here next to where she is right now. What if you're cooking pasta on there, right? With a nice hearty tomato sauce. How is that white wall going to look after 5 minutes? It's going to look pretty speckled, right? It's going to be nasty. It's going to be dirty because they have no backsplash there. You don't even have to be cooking something that splashes like that though. Anything with oil or, just anything with any kind of smell on a white wall, it is going to get absorbed. It is going to show the stains on there. It's not a good choice to use in the kitchen and also not a good choice to use on every surface in your entire home.
Instead, you can add plants or display objects up here. The kitchen wraps around the wall to provide more storage and space to prepare meals.
Okay, another big miss in this apartment. This is the desk setup, right? This is the only real place in this apartment where you can sit and work at a table other than the dining table. But this is going to be the primary space for someone who wants to actually do some work. But it's right next to the kitchen. So if you've got two people in here, one of them cooking, one of them working, I mean, how are you going to get any work done here when someone is chopping vegetables, 6 inches away from you? It's not going to happen. This desk setup, this little office nook, should have been on the other side where I mentioned, we have those cabinets with just a couple of pairs of shoes in them. That's where this setup should be, so that you've at least got, half a room's worth of space. So you're not all up in each other's business. You're not smelling the, every vegetable that gets chopped, like crying with the onions. This was just such a miss. This chair, I don't know. I've seen this kind of chair around, right? These are pretty popular these days. Is this comfortable to anyone? It does not look comfortable at all to me. I feel like I'm going to just kind of slide through it at some point and fall down onto the ground. I really feel like this was a big missed opportunity to create an actual productive working space, and instead they just jammed this in because the other side is just full of storage on the floor. That's why I say it. I just don't understand the layout of this space. They have so much, it is a small space. It's a 42 square meter apartment, but this room itself has a good amount of volume to it, and they could have done so much with it, and I just think that they really dropped the ball.
Early transition into a modular desk. This desk can be extended with a pivoting panel to provide a larger working surface.
Okay, that's smart. I love when they use, modular furniture in a small apartment like this. Great way to make a space bigger when you need it and make it smaller when you don't. So, love that.
The high floating shelf between the column and the wall was designed to zone the space while providing a surface for book, decor or plants. It also serves to highlight the structural column.
Here's another miss in here, right? She mentioned that this is a shelf up there for books, decor, and plants. But do you notice anything odd about this? It's way too high, right? It's way too high. Look at where she is. I don't even know if she can reach up and touch the shelf, let alone put things on there, right? If you want to put books up there, first of all, it's very narrow. This is only, I don't know, maybe 6 inches wide or something. So if you've got larger books, cookbooks, something like that, it's going to be pretty sketchy putting them up there. I can't imagine putting anything like a ceramic up there because I would be just, terrified that if I sneeze, it's going to fall down and, fall on my head. I don't think this is really functional at all for storage in the way that she's describing. And you can see that's why the homeowner is not using it like that, right? It's just, I don't know. I don't see the functionality in it. She said to zone the spaces, but I think that's a bit of a stretch. I don't see it.
Sometimes use it as a drying rack, which is quite amusing, but we love how the owner has made it her own.
Yeah, that makes total sense, right? This is like a drying rack. She's just going to use it as a clothesline, throw her bed sheets over there after they get washed, throw your t-shirts on there. That I can see someone actually using it in that way, but for a shelf with real utility, I mean, they have so much storage in this space already that it's just not needed for that. And I don't know, does it really matter that they included this? Not really, but I think the time and effort should have been put into thinking more deeply about layout and solving some of those problems rather than trying to solve a problem that no one really had in the beginning.
While also providing an aesthetic.
Whoa, this is a really, really narrow door. Are you seeing this? I don't even think I'd be able to fit through there without scraping the sides.
The closet was fully custom made and
yeah, you can see it's really tight because she's not even opening this door on the left all the way, right? She's kind of half opening it and reaching in to grab. And I'm pretty sure that's because it's just so tight in there that you can't properly open the doors here.
Optimized from the floor to the ceiling. At the owner request, we add built-in lighting inside the cupboard, as the area was no natural light.
Okay, love the lighting inside here. That's always a good idea, especially when you don't have natural light coming into a space. Again, it's all white, which I think is just way too overused now, right? It was overused in the main space. It's overused back here. It just doesn't, it's not inviting, right? It doesn't make you feel anything. It's just kind of devoid of personality. And white, minimalist spaces definitely have their place. I'm not saying that they don't, but I just think here, you want to kind of contrast white with something that actually has some texture or material to it. Here, everything is just a flat, smooth white surface and doesn't make you feel anything when you're in this space.
And has no direct light. So the aim was to create a sense of openness while...
Okay, so they did something interesting here, which is putting this big window First to let in natural light, but then also to let in air. Okay, makes sense. They've got the curtain here for privacy. I guess that makes sense as well. I mean, probably most of the time, I'm pretty sure there's just one person who lives here, possibly two, but they would both be sleeping here. So I don't think the privacy is that much of an issue, but I think it was the wrong choice to enclose this bedroom in this way, right? Because what you've done, you can see here, there's hardly any room between this wall and the bed. And on the other side, it might be even tighter. So it's very, very tight in there. It's literally just a bedroom, a room with a bed in it, and that's it. What it means is when you're in that room, it feels really tight. And I would say not in a good way, right? It's just very crammed in there. Then you step out that tiny door and you come into this very crammed wardrobe area, right? Your walk-in closet, but everything is super tight. So when you wake up in the morning, there's no feeling like there's no release. There's no ability to exhale. You're kind of just in this tiny little shell, and you're in that shell until you finally, enter the main space of the home here. I think this was a big miss, and I'm going to tell you in a minute what I would have done with this space instead.
The bedroom door has...
Yeah, you can see here, it is really tight on both sides of the bed, right? I mean, it's impossible for two people. One person can barely even stand there, let alone having two people or putting anything there. They've got these tiny shelves as, I guess as a substitute for bedside tables because they can't fit any bedside tables. But the other thing is here, there's nothing on the walls, right? They've got a couple photos here, or postcards or something. There's nothing on the walls to give this room any personality or warmth. And so you enter there, it's tight, it's small, you're crammed, you can barely move, you sleep, then you wake up, you're in a white box. There's nothing inspiring about being here.
Into the bedroom and walk-in closets.
I think the visual consistency in here, in this case, is a problem, not a solution, right? Because it's just white, white, white. We don't want more visual consistency. We want some kind of contrast, some sort of feeling. Do you notice this? Even the light in here is extremely white. Right? Normally, especially in the bedroom, you would want a warmer bulb, something around 2700 to 3000 kelvins, something that has that yellow glow so that when you have it on, especially in the evenings, it helps your mind to relax and allows your body to shut down. But here, this is like hospital lighting in here, and it just makes the space incredibly white and bright. I think if you were to wake up in the morning and turn on that light above you, you're gonna go blind.
The wall lights from Charlotte Perriand above the bed create a soft glow.
She mentioned Charlotte Perriand here, and so I'll remind you what I said at the beginning. Charlotte Perriand, her furniture work was very well known for being bold and colorful and, a little playful in that way, but there's nothing really playful about this space that we've seen. It's just white, it's just plain, nothing on the walls, and so I wouldn't say that Charlotte Perriand's work has really come through here.
Before the renovation, there was no dedicated laundry area.
Okay, I was right. You can see in this frame that the doors here are very narrow. I'm assuming that this one is probably the same width as the bedroom door because they're on, opposite sides of the same little corridor here. But you can see this is a woman, I don't know, let's say average height or something, but she's almost shoulder to shoulder with that door. So if there was a larger man or something, it might be, he might really be brushing up against the sides just to get through there. That's not a nice experience that you want day after day, right? No one wants to feel enclosed and claustrophobic like that in their own home.
The bathroom is simple and minimalist, featuring a spacious shower and light material, including custom tiles.
Of course, light materials, right? It's all white in the bathroom. I'm not surprised. Couple things that I don't like about this bathroom. Number one, the finishes are very simple. That's fine, right? You don't have to renovate everything, but if you wanted to make this a little more upscale, maybe changing something like the sink here would be a good place to start. Number two, I don't recommend using bathroom tiles that have, yellow and brown sort of colors like these. It's just not the kind of color that you want elsewhere in your bathroom, so I would really just recommend against that. Instead, I think they could have gone with like a really nice small tile here, something in a deep blue, deep green, deep purple maybe. Something that provides some sort of color in this space. Of course, there should be more colors throughout, but it was such a good opportunity to make this bathroom something special, and they just missed it. You can also see here, the lights next to this mirror are this shocking white. Nothing warm, nothing inviting. It's just incredibly white light that, again, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you switch on the lights here, I mean, your eyes are going to be hating you for days, right?
Since the bathroom is also in the back half of the apartment, we create a small window between the kitchen and the bathroom to bring in natural light and provide proper ventilation.
This is good in theory, not necessarily good in practice. Why? It is good to bring in the natural light, because I would never want to turn on those lights in the bathroom, so I would just be relying on the natural light from above. But when it comes to ventilation, keep in mind, this bathroom is just on the other side of the wall from the kitchen. So right outside this window is the kitchen right there. Now think about this. You got two people living here. The wife is cooking dinner. The husband is in the bathroom doing his business, right? Do you really want those smells and sounds going out this window into the kitchen? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. So what you want is a fan ventilation system that can remove at least the smells. It's hard to remove the sounds, not just dump them into the kitchen, right? That's just not a good idea. Of course you want the natural light coming in, but having all the smells and sounds going out into the kitchen, no, bad idea. I've seen enough of this place. Let me show you what I would do. Number one, I talked about the bed and how it's so tight in that bedroom. I think what you absolutely should be doing in here is removing that wall to the bedroom and opening up the entire space. Only the bathroom should be separate in this setup. And what you really want to do here is remove this kind of central column in the middle of the apartment, which is where they've got half of the storage, right? Part of it is against the far wall, but some of it is kind of in the middle, the heart of the apartment. You want to move that and put it beside the other wardrobe so that you've got along the back wall just all wardrobe space. Then what that does, once you've removed that middle wardrobe section and the wall to the bedroom, it's completely open. And so you've got so much space to work with. That's number one. Number two, install a Murphy bed instead of a regular bed, because now it's going to all be in one space. So you don't necessarily, you don't want to have it be a studio space when you're having guests over and stuff like that. It doesn't look good to have the bed in the main room. But if you use a Murphy bed that'll fold down, then all of a sudden you can fold it up when you're not using it, but you can also fold it down when you're sleeping, and you have so much space, right? It's going to open up the entire apartment and give you a ton of room to work with. Now, if you really want these storage units that are on the floor right now, we can't have them where they are now because it's just a poor layout here, having these right here where you should be having some kind of cozy living space. Instead, if you really want them, you can put them toward the corner, exactly under where that Murphy bed is going to come down. Then the bed can rest on these storage units, and when it goes up, they're just regular storage units that you can use in the same way you're using now. I wouldn't really recommend that, but that's if they feel like they're running out of storage. But frankly, I don't think they're going to, because having the entire back wall, except for where the bathroom is, having all that as storage is going to give you tons of space and open up this apartment in a way that is so much nicer. And the other benefit you get by removing that central wardrobe space and the wall to the bedroom is that natural light is now able to reach every corner of the apartment, except for the bathroom, which is a different story. You're kind of solving two problems at once by removing that, because it opens up the layout and lets in tons of natural light. And the other layout change that they really need to make is to move that study area from the kitchen into the living room area. Maybe it's where those cabinets with the shoes are right now. Maybe it's somewhere slightly different, but regardless, that should be where someone is working, because you don't want to be working right next to someone who's making dinner. You need those two activities separate, and now that the living room is getting much larger, you have tons of space to put it over there. But those are just the layout changes. One of the other big problems with this space was that it's just so bright and white. And so you need some color on the walls in there and some color in the decor and furniture. So I would definitely recommend putting a nice dark color on the living room and kitchen walls. And if you want to, you can put a slightly different color around the bedroom nook, just to give a little bit of visual separation so that it feels somewhat distinct, even though it's all in one big space. And ideally, you should also put a backsplash in the kitchen so that you're not getting food and other stuff splattered all over the walls, and you can keep things looking good. And I'd also recommend painting the ceiling as well, because if you've got white floors and a white ceiling and some kind of dark color on the walls, then your space is going to kind of look like a reverse Oreo, which is not a good look. But speaking of the floors, they should have herringbone parquet in here. This is Paris. We're not living in some ultra modernist place, right? You saw the building outside. This is Paris. You want something that has the feeling of Paris. Imagine if they had a nice herringbone parquet in there, or some other kind of rich wooden floor. I mean, the entire space would feel so much better. And speaking of textures, you just need a lot more textures throughout this entire space, right? put a nice sofa in there, put a couple of chairs, give a little bit of texture to them, add in some natural stone, add some wood in there. I mean, they had plenty of wood on the cabinetry and stuff, but what about a wooden coffee table? What about adding in some stone, like a nice stone countertop that really gives the space some weight? Because right now, everything is just so smooth, and whether you recognize it consciously or not, your body recognizes when a space is not tactilely interesting, right? When it's not interesting to the touch. But there's another big thing that they're missing in here, and that's mirrors. I mean, I think maybe they didn't include any mirrors in here aside from in the bathroom because there's already so much light bouncing around due to all the white. But once you lower the saturation in the apartment, it's going to feel nice to have a mirror or two around. So number one, you can see yourself before you go outside. Also, number two, it'll make the space feel bigger because you can see it from different angles. And then you want to give the bathroom a mood of its own as well. So remove those yellowy brown tiles, put in something that's got a bit more oomph to it, right? Something darker, something deeper, something that feels good on the skin, right? When you step on it in the shower, you want to feel something with your feet. Not just the same smooth materials that you've been feeling throughout the entire apartment. Not the one that feels the exact same as the kitchen floor. No, give yourself some sort of a textured experience in there. And then change the lighting in there. Get some warmer bulbs, maybe some dimmers so that you can keep the lighting really low and moody in the evenings. But whatever you do, do not keep those white fluorescent bulbs that are just making your space look like a dentist's office. So if you were doing the remodel of this place, you'd want to include a few different types of lighting so that it can fit whatever you're doing throughout the day. So that definitely includes floor lamps, table lamps, maybe a couple wall lamps, and some task lighting for, when you're working at your desk or when you're preparing food, just different layers of lighting so that no matter what you're doing in that space, it's always well lit, but it's never overwhelming in the sense of an overhead light that just takes over the entire space and turns it into something that is completely washed out and has no depth to it. That's pretty much what I would do with this space. Open it up, add more color, bring in some textures, improve the lighting, and just give it a personality of its own. Anyway, that's the apartment. I think on this one, they just got a couple things right and really missed the mark on a lot of other things, but I'm curious to know what you think in the comments. But if you want to see some homes that I like quite a lot more, I've left links to a few of them in the description below, or you can check out this video up here, which showcases a much larger, much more exquisite home that I think you're going to love. I'll see you there.